Hi everyone and welcome. It's FPL Matt Day here and it's my last video for the wildcard for game week 9 and onwards all the way up until the World Cup. And this one is the forwards video. It's all about the strikers, the goal scorers, the players that live for goals and they're going to get the goals in your team to give you those green arrows. Just before we get into it, as always, if you can please like this video, comment on the video, let me know your thoughts on everything I'm going to go through. And also, if you are new here, give the video a subscribe, turn the notifications on. If you're trying to turn the notifications on and you're previously subscribed and it won't let you do it, click on subscribe again, and then you can click the notification bell and then you'll never miss a video. You'll get the notification as soon as a video is out or as soon as I go live. And it'll be great to have all the regulars in here as I love to interact with the audience. So let's get straight into this. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. These videos did start as a top 3. We went sort of the top 3 keepers, we went the top 3 defenders, but as the sort of series has gone on and ended up getting to obviously this stage, I did start to get requests for top 5. So let's get into it. I'm just about to bring a share screen up here on the side and let's go for it. So here we go. Share screen is up. As you can see, we've got the defenders here, which is not what we're going to discuss. It's going to be all about the forwards, the goal scorers, as I mentioned before. So we've got the forwards here. Some very big names in there, as you can see. But let's start with our number 5 forward. And it's going to be this man from Aston Villa. This is a big surprise, I think, for viewers. They're probably thinking, what's Ollie Watkins doing on here? As you can see there, from the games he's played this season, which is only 7 of them so far, he's only had 2 returns. Got the 11-point haul against Everton, where he got 2 assists, and he got the goal against Palace. No bonus in that. He got the full 3 bonus against Everton. People are probably looking at this thinking, I don't understand. Look, 2% owned. So he's very low owned, 7.2 million. So it's a good price range. Isaac is injured at the moment. So for those managers that don't know what to do with Isaac, don't know who to replace him with, I'd start looking at Ollie Watkins. And I think this is because Villa got a win in their last game against Southampton. Watkins played 90 minutes. He looked dangerous. As you can see, he's really high up in terms of his influence. He runs the channels well. He gets in the box. He can assist and score goals when he is up and running. And I think the screw might start to turn for Villa. I think this week off, time on the training ground for Gerrard and his players is only going to benefit them. And Watkins does also like to take a penalty. One thing about all 5 of my players, you'll notice they are all penalty takers. So they're all very good options in that respect. Watkins does normally share them with Ings, but Watkins does get a lot more starts. As you can see from his history, he's played every single game. Bar the Bournemouth game, he only played 24 minutes, but he did have an injury knock in that game. Looking at his fixtures, Leeds away, Forest away, 2 really nice fixtures, open games. Chelsea home, obviously a tougher game there, but then Fulham, Brentford, 2 very good games for him. Bit tougher with Newcastle and United, and then ending with Brighton prior to the World Cup. We don't know what Brighton we're going to get from now to the World Cup because obviously Graham Potter isn't there anymore. So I think these are really good fixtures for Watkins. I think if you're on a wild card or you're an Isaac owner and you want to try something different, this is the man that you want to look at right now. And look, I can understand his stats aren't quite there this season. Villa haven't been brilliant, but it's still early days in the season. So much can change in 1 to 2 game weeks. I think Watkins is a really good choice. That's my number 5, Ollie Watkins. So let's go to number 4. Number 4 is a man that's already on 6 Premier League goals. He doesn't make third. He doesn't make second or first. He makes fourth. It's Mitrovic. And it's probably going to be a surprise to some people that he doesn't get higher. I think I'm just kind of looking at it more so, and I really like Fulham. As you can see here, influence of 3 out of 70, 4 out of 70 for threat, ICT index 4 out of 70. So he's involved in games. He's heavily involved in games. He's on the end of a lot of bonus points there. He's got full 3 bonus points on 2 separate occasions. He's hit another bonus point there in the away game against Arsenal. So he's on 7 so far this season. There is a -1 in there. He did miss a penalty against Wolves. But again, like I mentioned, he is a pen taker, as are all of these strikers. He's got 6 returns so far this season. So the man is on fire. He's got 1 double-digit score there. He's got a 9-pointer there, 7-pointer. He is just an absolute threat from everything. So good in the air. Balls that come in the box. He obviously scored for fun on the international break. So people are probably thinking, why isn't he higher? I think I'm just looking at it. Fulham newly promoted. They've really started the season well in this sort of first 6 or 7 games. Sometimes this form does end for the newly promoted teams and comes to a bit of a standstill. I don't think that will necessarily happen with Fulham because I really like their lineup and I really like Marco Silva. But I just think 4th is probably still where he's at. 31.5% owned, so he's heavily owned at 6.9 million. So he's obviously gone up in value a lot this season. Look, next couple of fixtures are quite tough for Fulham. Newcastle home and West Ham away. Then you've got Bournemouth, Villa, Leeds, Everton. Some really good matches there. All green. Man City away, Man United home prior to the World Cup. So he comes in at number 4. Apologies to the big Mitrovic fans that he didn't get higher, but I've put this man in 3rd place instead. Ivan Toney. And look, you look at his scores there. Massive hat-trick in game week 6 against Leeds. Prior to that, first 3 games, 8 points, 9 points, 8 points. So he hit 3 times. Ake hasn't hit as frequently as Mitrovic. But I just feel there's something about Toney where I can just see him. He just edges it for Mitrovic. 7.3 million. Ake's a bit more money. Ownership's less, 22.4%. I think that's going to go up before game week 9 with all these wild cards. But something about Toney, I just like a little bit more. Maybe it's because Brentford are a bit more established in the Premier League with a year in it. And there's not much in it in the fixtures prior to the World Cup between the two. But I think it's the, I think it maybe is just a Forest game. Mitrovic didn't score in the Forest game last out. Toney still got that Forest game up his sleeve. The Bournemouth game in there. Villa Wolves as well. Brighton at home. So I don't know. It's just something that just edges him above it. I think it's just, we've seen him get that hat-trick this season. We saw him get a hat-trick last season for Brentford. Another double early on in the season last season for Brentford against Wolves. I just think we've kind of seen it with Toney, and I'm really, really liking him. 3 out of 70 for creativity. And I think that probably is what edges it for me for Toney, is his creativity. We've seen that he can assist as well as score goals. And we've seen that last season, and obviously this season, as you can see, game week 2, he got 2 assists. So a day when Brentford decided to score 4 goals, Toney didn't score, which was a huge surprise, but he still grabbed a couple of assists. So I think his creativity edges it for me. So he's number 3 in my list. So let's go to the top 2, and I don't think either of these are going to be surprises. Number 2 is someone who's probably would normally be number 1 in every other season, and it's my man Harry Kane. Obviously I'm a big Spurs fan. I love Harry Kane. Number 1 for creativity out of all of the strikers. So he's got more than just goals in his game this season, last season, and the season before as well, when he was obviously the top assister in the league. He's number 1 in the ICT index at the moment, so even above Haaland. He's getting on the ball a lot more. That's why he's on the ball all the time, which means he's a constant threat in a completely different way to Haaland. Haaland's a constant threat because of his, ruthlessness to want to score every single, scrap in the box. He wants to win every duel. Kane used to be like that. 17, 18, 16, 17 seasons, absolutely ruthless. Harry Kane got the most goals in a calendar year. For the calendar year. Back in the 17-18 season, he was a ruthless goal scorer, but his game's changed since he sort of had his injuries. And obviously, he's got this brilliant ability to pass and find a man. He doesn't drop deep as much. Conte's definitely made him more of a box player, but he drops a bit deeper than the Harry Kane we used to know. But this season, brilliant. 2 double-digit scores there. He's got a 9 there against Fulham, an 8 against Chelsea, 6 against Wolves. Another assist against West Ham. This guy, I think the sky's the limit still for him. I think Spurs have had a couple of obviously big wins, but they've also been underwhelming in some other games. I just think there's some really big scores to come from Kane. Prior to the World Cup, he's going to be hungry to hit some form prior to the World Cup, and I think Arsenal is a game. Scored the most North London derby goals in history of the fixture. So he loves this game. He's then got Brighton, loves that game. Everton at home, perfect captain choice in a week that Liverpool play Man City. He's got Bournemouth leading up to the World Cup, Leeds leading up to the World Cup. So he's got some very good fixtures. So he is number 2 already on 50 points this season, 11.4 million. So he's dropped in price from his starting price, and he's 19.2% owned currently. So let's go to number 1. I don't think there's too much argument. Look, this is he's number 1 because 81.1% ownership, 11 Premier League goals already. 2 of them are hat-tricks. He's just got that in his locker. 1 out of 70 for influence. He just influences games by just being on the pitch. He may not necessarily be the same, ICT index or threat or playmaker as a Harry Kane. On the eye, you might watch a game and think Kane influences it more in terms of what he brings, with his passing range and his kind of all-round play. But, Haaland is just, from an FPL point of view, just an absolute dream. He's a goal machine as well. It's just, incredible stuff. 1 for influence, 2 for threat, 2 for ICT, 2 overall. Huge ownership, 12.1 million. He did start at 11.5 million, so he's just going up and up and up. And just have a look at that. Look at those returns. He's returned in every single fixture he's played this season with 3 double-digit scores, and he's on pens. Like I said, every single one of these strikers is a penalty taker. So that's my number 1. I don't think there's any surprise about that number 1. And there you have it. That is my my top 5 strikers. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you think the order needs to be changed. If I've missed anyone, put it in there. Call me out if I'm wrong. If you think I'm right, then let me know as well. But thank you everyone that's tuned in. Again, apologies for the pixelation in the videos at the moment. I am trying to fix this with my camera at the moment on the laptop. Not too sure what is wrong, but we'll end the video there. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on this video. And good luck for Game Week 9 and your wildcard decisions. I really hope you enjoyed this mini series. If you did, let me know and I'll do one post World Cup for the unlimited transfers. And I will also do one obviously for Wildcard 2 and free hit teams and all those different dynamics we're going to have as the season goes on. So let me know what you think in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.